Here's an idea. Why don't we court-martial President Trump? He's Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, therefore he's a member of the military, and as any other member of the military, is he not subject to court-martial if he commits a crime? So, he's purging the Pentagon right now. Surely they want to get rid of him. Why don't they look into his background, delve into some of his crimes, court-martial him, and throw away the key? Spread the word. Court-martial Trump.
The chairman of the Nobel Committee has come out to say that the Nobel Peace Prize is reserved for people with courage and integrity, and it's basically why Trump didn't get it. Like, I don't know why any of you would possibly think that he would be entitled to that award. Our country is on the International Human Rights Watch list for the first time ever because of Donald Trump. What the fuck is peaceful about him? Like, honestly, if you're one of those MAGA that's online right now mad about the fact that Trump did not get that Nobel Peace Prize, like, I need you to find your closest brick wall and slam your fucking head into it.
How do you remove Donald Trump from office and his entire cabinet? Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution. You know, a lot of people are talking about Article 25. The 25th Amendment only removes the president when the president is unfit. Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution allows us to not only remove the president, but the vice president, his entire cabinet, federal judges, everyone. Every one of them can be removed with an impeachment and conviction of bribery, treason, with all high crimes and misdemeanors. And how does this work? Well, the House of Representatives are who is responsible for impeachment. That sets the stage so that the Senate can then, who has the power to convict, can then have a trial. And in the Senate, it would take 2/3 vote to convict and remove every one of them from office. How do we all fit in with this? We get on the phones, we contact our representatives, we contact our senators, and we push for all of their removal. We push for the impeachment and conviction of all of them through Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution. You know, there are a lot of Republicans, not a lot, but there are one by one, these Republicans are starting to see. Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming out every day with something that is going against her party. A lot of these Republicans are against MAGA. They're coming out. Every day we're seeing something. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are some Democrats who are just as guilty of treason or bribery. You know, I don't think it's just one side, but I think it makes a difference when we make noise the right way. It's just a thought. I will keep you updated with all of these events and everything that's going on that affects us, because there is just so much every single day. Please like, follow, and share so that I can continue to provide you with content, and I appreciate you being here.
We have to impeach this man. We have got to impeach Donald Trump, because on Meet the Press, when asked if he would uphold the Constitution, he said, "I don't know." The President of the United States, the man who took an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution, said, "I don't know," because it's seeming to be inconvenient for him at this point, because he has an issue with the Fifth Amendment, in which citizens and non-citizens are granted the same rights of due process under the law, because he says, well, that would take thousands and thousands of court cases. Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. Without due process, we are just rounding up people and shipping them off. They don't get to defend themselves. They don't get their right day in court. They don't get to say that they are actually citizens and have the ability to prove that in front of a court of law. It is just whatever Donald Trump and his administration wants to do to round up whoever they want and send them off. That is the problem. And he says, well, I don't know if I want to uphold the Constitution. Folks, we are 100 days into this administration. I don't even know if we are at this point. And if you say we're not at a constitutional crisis, I'm not sure what's going to get you there, because he is flat out saying he does not believe in upholding the Constitution, because it might get his hands dirty and he might have a little trouble just pushing his agenda down our throats. We are 100 days in. What are the next 4 years going to be? The only way we're going to make it is if we cut those 4 years short. We have got to impeach the president. Democrats, at any point, when you have the ability, if it's the midterms, whatever, you've got to impeach him immediately. We have to remove this man, and we have got to move forward because he is dragging us down a path that is so dangerous. And not wanting to uphold the Constitution is something I did not think I would hear from the President of the United States. So if this is the first 100 days, buckle up.
Look, this is incredibly important. People need to know about it. We've seen Donald Trump take incredibly dictatorial actions in just the last month, whether it be indicting former FBI Director James Comey, indicting the Attorney General of New York, or attacking nonprofit groups that he doesn't like and trying to take away their tax-exempt status. All of this is insane, and all of it is connected. What Trump is trying to do here is silence political opponents. If somebody doesn't like him, if somebody has held him accountable in court, if somebody has advocated for a policy that he doesn't like, he wants to go after them. And with these nonprofit groups especially, they're not even political. They're serving veterans, homeless people, hungry people in their communities, and Donald Trump wants to attack them, make it impossible for them to operate. It's insane. Look, I think we can all agree that regardless of political affiliation, the President of the United States should not be doing this. They should not have this power, whether it's a Democrat or Republican in office. This is insane, and it's antithetical to what we do here in America.
The United States of America, collectively, at every level of society, needs to start coming to terms with the fact that Donald Trump is going to go to prison. He is facing over 700 years of prison time on 91 felony counts. He is going to get convicted on a lot of those felony counts. And he's not, the charges out of Florida, the charges out of DC, the charges out of Georgia. He's got more indictments coming out of New Jersey for dissemination of top secret information. He's got another indictment coming for his fundraising, and potentially going to get indicted out of Michigan and Arizona. He is not going to spend the rest of his life having never seen the inside of a prison cell. And we need to start collectively coming to terms with that inevitability. For the majority of us, probably 65% of the country, it's fine. Fine. I'm good with it. But, his supporters, just from being indicted, one of them's already dead because he threatened to assassinate Joe Biden. The FBI took his ass out in Utah.
Stick around for a second because Steve Bannon is about to share something absolutely preposterous. But at this point, you really can't put anything past this administration. So before you scroll, here you go.
Let me ask you about Trump 2028. We have a 22nd Amendment, which bars anybody from running for a third term. Do you think that that's not a barrier for him, or how do you see that?
I think that there are many different alternatives that at the appropriate time after the midterms in 26, we will roll out. But I think there are many different alternatives to make sure that President Trump is on the ballot. And if he's on the ballot, he'll win. So I think there's many different alternatives. Remember, but I fully intend to see President Trump on the ballot in 2028 and to return to office as to continue the great run he's had as 47th president of the United States.
Yep. Trump's former chief strategist just said Trump's going to be on the 2028 ballot and that there are alternatives to the 22nd Amendment. You know, the one that says you can't be elected president more than twice. They know it's unconstitutional. They know it breaks every rule of democracy. Still, they're floating it as of yesterday, testing the waters, seeing how much they can get away with. Because if we've learned anything from this administration, is that the law doesn't stop them. When he used the word alternatives, that's a warning. They're signaling what comes next, and I'm terrified to see what happens after the midterms. My opinion, though, he might not make it to 2028, but that's what's so scary about it. It's not about him anymore. It's about their movement. They're gonna rewrite or ignore the Constitution, so you better be paying attention.
Hello everyone, I just popped up to say hi. Thank you for watching these videos. Let's continue watching. It's not the end. I just want to say thank you for being my viewer, my subscriber. Make sure that you comment, because that's the most important part of this video, commenting, so that we can discuss about the real issues that are affecting us from our states, districts, counties, everywhere we come from. So make sure that you comment and make your voice heard. I usually engage in these comments and look even into our community posts. We really make amazing posts there.
How come everything is illegal, but there's nothing we can do about it? I got to put the blame here where it belongs. Trump's Republican enablers. The system was set up, especially the Senate, to care more about the country than they do about their party. Donald Trump should have been convicted of the charges on which he was impeached in 2020 and again in 2021, and they let him go because they wanted to have partisan advantage. They could shut this down whenever they wanted to. And the huge irony of this is that if they did, if the Republicans really began to jump ship, the people who do that would build themselves extraordinary careers and places in the history books. So far, they are refusing to do it. They are destroying our system of government. This is absolutely inexcusable. But the courts are holding. The lower courts are holding, not the Supreme Court, but the lower courts pushing back, and they're stopping the administration in every possible different way. And that matters because it slows the march of authoritarianism. It makes it more difficult. It muddies the waters. And that matters. And the lawyers who are standing against them matter. So too Americans who are standing up against the suppression of free speech, for example. Reinstatement of Jimmy Kimmel into his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, mattered because what it said was that the administration cannot simply stifle language that it doesn't want. Even though Sinclair and I think it was Nexstar tried to suppress Jimmy Kimmel's show from local channels, what individuals did was they watched those shows, figured out who the advertisers were on them, and called them and said they were going to boycott. That forced those private organizations, those companies, to back down. That was a real triumph. It was a real triumph because it illustrated that this march toward authoritarianism is not going to go unchallenged.
This is about to be a rant, so if you don't want to listen, just drop a year in the comments so that I know that you were here so we can push this through the algorithm. The reason why they want to control social media in today's day and age is because they can't lie to us the same way that they used to lie in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. And I'm going to tell you why. Social media. It has gotten to a point now where people will literally tell you that you didn't see what you just saw, forcing some people to believe that they didn't see or hear what they just saw or heard, knowing damn right well they did. Here's an example.
Legal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. My question was whether the administration still plans to abide by that judge's order restricting any National Guard troops from being sent to Oregon.
Well, the administration will abide by the ruling insofar as it affects the covered parties. But there are also many other options the president has to deploy federal resources and assets under the U.S. military to Portland. But I was making the point that under federal law, Section Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has the authority anytime he believes federal resources are insufficient to federalize the National Guard to carry out a mission necessary for public safety. So it's important to understand that in Portland, ICE officers have been subjected to over 100 nights of terrorist assault, doxing, murder threats, violent attack, and every other means imaginable to try to overturn the results of the last election through violence. The most important point I want to make today is that the number 1 and 2 items in the GOP platform in 2024 were to turn back the border invasion and carry out.
Now you tell me, are we stuck in some sort of twilight zone? No, we're not. I was told to believe half of what I hear and only a fraction of what I see. However, in this day and age, it's too easy for people to just pull their phones out. And by the time whatever story reaches the media, we already know it's cap. Why? Because we got social media. That's why they want to control it. They ain't slick. Good day.
So these are just some of the questions you refuse to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question.
They're all going to jail. When this thing is over, they're all going to jail. Every last one of them. The Pam Bondis, the Kash Patels, the Dan Van Ginas, or whatever the hell his name is. Everybody involved in this, with the exception of Donald Trump, will be doing prison time. Tom Homan, the whole lot of them, people involved in the upper reaches of ICE, they will all be doing jail time because they are breaking the law every single day. It's not the crime that gets you, it's the cover-up. Donald Trump has immunity because of his bullshit Supreme Court, but the rest of them do not. Pam Bondi sitting here is just the perfect illustration. Every time one of these people like RFK or Stephen Miller gets in front of a microphone, they are committing more and more crimes and covering up the crimes that are existing right now. So I guarantee when the dust settles on this administration, there will be an absolute legal bloodbath, and these people will be just like everyone else who have tied their wagon to Donald Trump, absolutely bankrupt, embroiled in conflict and confrontation and legal battles everywhere they turn. And the difference between them and Donald Trump is A, they'll be alive, and B, they won't be able to escape the consequences.
Hello everyone, thank you for watching my video, and as I usually say, everything that has a beginning must have an end. And let's discuss about Trump. Should he be in prison? And if you remember, when he was impeached, Senate saved him, and Mitch, Senate saved him. So what Trump was and is really able to do is hijack the Republican Party. He has hijacked because the Republican Party at a point wanted to get rid of him, but they couldn't. And whenever you decide to go against Trump, what does Trump do? He uses his MAGA machinery to kick you out of office. Look at what happened to this Wyoming congresswoman, Liz Cheney. He went against Trump. He faced the music. So Trump has been able to get away with literally everything because of his ability to hijack the Republican Party. That's what Trump has been able to do. So he is the Ayatollah in the Republican Party. And if it was not for the Republican Party, Trump would be in prison. So our president literally is out on bail. So we have a criminal mastermind in charge of our government. Release the files. That's what I usually say in my community post. Release the files. Trump said he wanted to release the files, but once he found his name was there, what did he do? He decided not to release the files. So this administration is really doing everything bad against the same people who voted it in. So this Trump administration is literally committing treason. Let's make Trump face justice, and the only way to do so is vote in the midterms. Make sure that your voice is heard in the midterms. So as I usually say, stay focused, stay alert, stay blue, see blue, watch blue, listen blue, vote blue. And until the next video, thank you for your attention to this matter.